The ship drifted silently through the darkness of space. Stars flickered past like distant lanterns, and the hum of the engines was the only sound inside the cabin. The human, tall and sturdy, stood at the viewport, staring at the endless void. He had been sent on a mission far from Earth, to a sector of space known for alien colonies that humanity had rarely contacted. His orders were clear: observe, protect, and if necessary, negotiate. But nothing in the briefing had prepared him for her. The alien woman was unlike any species he had encountered. She was tall, with a graceful form that moved almost like liquid, her skin shimmering faintly under the dim lights, reflecting colors that the human didn't have names for. Her eyes were wide and intelligent, glowing with a soft inner light that made him feel both nervous and curious. She had been found aboard a derelict ship, drifting alone for what appeared to be weeks. When he first approached her, she didn't speak immediately. She simply observed him, tilting her head in a way that suggested both caution and intrigue. The human, trained for diplomacy, tried to communicate using universal signals, small gestures, and calm body language. Slowly, she responded, mimicking his movements and eventually forming simple words that he could understand. Over the hours, he realized that she was not just intelligent, but extraordinarily curious about humans. She asked questions about how he survived in dangerous situations, how humans managed conflict, and why humans often risked their lives to protect strangers. Her questions were not idle. They were precise, probing, and insightful, revealing a mind that was both analytical and sensitive. As night fell aboard the ship, the humans set up the cabin for their rest. It was a small space, only one bed large enough for a single occupant, but it had warmth and comfort. The alien observed quietly, her gaze following every movement, as if assessing not only his actions, but his intentions. When he stepped back, she approached the bed without hesitation. She slid under the sheets and whispered, "One bed, no rules." Her voice was soft but firm, carrying a weight that made him pause. There was something about her confidence that disarmed him. He expected hesitation, mistrust, or at least caution. Instead, she trusted him more. Perhaps she was testing him. Either way, he respected it. He joined her under the sheets, careful to maintain distance, but aware of the unspoken tension in the air. There were no rules, she had said, and yet there was an understanding that neither would break the trust that had formed in the short hours. They had shared, time seemed to slow. They lay side by side, observing each other in quiet curiosity. The human told her about Earth, about the vast oceans, the mountains, and the forests. He spoke of small joys, the sound of rain, the warmth of sunlight, and the laughter of friends. She listened intently, her eyes reflecting fascination and wonder. She asked questions, not about the weaknesses of humans, but about their resilience, their determination, and their ability to create beauty even in harsh conditions. Her curiosity extended beyond words. She demonstrated her technology, showing small devices that could manipulate light, communicate across vast distances, or analyze complex systems in moments. The human watched carefully, learning not only about her capabilities, but about her culture, her values, and the strength of her spirit. Every gesture, every explanation, revealed a creature both alien and profoundly intelligent. The night stretched on, and slowly, barriers began to dissolve. He noticed the subtle ways she mirrored his movements, the small shifts in posture that indicated trust, and the quiet attention she paid to his reactions. For her part, she seemed fascinated by human instincts, how he reacted to danger, how he approached problems, and how he chose empathy over aggression when faced with uncertainty. Their conversation was interrupted by a low alert from the ship's systems. Sensors indicated an unknown vessel approaching rapidly. The human immediately assessed the threat, analyzing trajectory, speed, and potential intent. The alien watched closely, then moved beside him without hesitation. Together, they monitored the approaching ship, their actions synchronized. A silent team formed by necessity and mutual respect. The vessel came into view, sleek, fast, and armed. Its presence was a clear threat, but the human remained calm. He directed the alien to assist in rerouting power to shields while he prepared defensive measures. She followed instructions precisely, her movements fluid and efficient, demonstrating strength and intelligence in equal measure. Together, they prepared for the encounter. Not as human and alien, but as partners facing an uncertain future. When the hostile ship fired, the human strategy and her agility allowed them to avoid damage while sending warning signals. The confrontation was brief, intense, and ultimately non-lethal. The intruder, recognizing the unexpected resistance, retreated. The human exhaled, tension leaving his body, and looked at the alien. She met his gaze, eyes wide but calm, and he saw something new: admiration. After the danger passed, they returned to the cabin. Silence filled the room, but it was different, now comfortable, safe, and intimate in a way that words could not capture. She spoke softly, asking about his experiences on Earth, about moments of courage and failure, about times he had made choices that changed lives. He answered honestly, sharing stories of bravery, mistakes, and the lessons he had learned. In turn, she revealed her own history, fragments of her life before isolation, the challenges of her people, the decisions that weighed heavily on leaders, and the moments of doubt that tested her resolve. He listened with growing respect, recognizing that while she was powerful, her strength came not only from her body or technology, but from her mind and heart. Hours passed. They shared meals, simple conversation, and quiet observation. The human began to notice the nuances of her personality, the humor that occasionally flickered in her expressions, the care she showed for small details, and the unspoken concern for the well-being of others. She, in turn, seemed fascinated by his resilience, his ability to think clearly under pressure, his unwavering sense of ethics. By the time dawn approached, the bond between them had deepened. Trust, curiosity, and mutual respect formed a foundation that transcended species, culture, and language. She whispered again, "You are different. I have never met a human like you." He smiled, realizing that the galaxy was vast, full of wonders and dangers, yet in that small cabin, two beings had found connection through understanding and shared experience. In that quiet moment, they understood each other not through rules or commands, but through observation, empathy, and action. Humanity had impressed her not through weapons or dominance, but through courage, compassion, and the willingness to protect and understand. And in return, she offered him her trust, curiosity, and presence, rare gift that few humans or aliens had ever received. The night ended without fanfare, but with promise. They lay together, side by side, no rules, no expectations, only a connection forged in the unlikeliest of circumstances. The human knew that their journey was only beginning, that countless challenges awaited in the galaxy. But he also knew that with her by his side, he was not alone. Together, they would face the unknown, relying on trust, courage, and the extraordinary qualities that made humans remarkable. And as the first light of the distant stars touched the cabin, Aether spoke. Words were unnecessary. In the silence, they had already discovered something far greater: understanding, respect, and the spark of friendship, or perhaps something deeper that would guide them through the adventures yet to come. The first light of distant stars spilled into the cabin, painting the walls with silver and blue. The human stirred, sensing her presence beside him. She was already awake, her eyes reflecting the glow of the viewport, calm yet alert. There was no need for words. Both knew that the galaxy outside was unpredictable, and trust was as precious as any weapon they carried. She studied him quietly, her curiosity unrestrained. Unlike other aliens he had encountered, she did not see him as a threat, a tool, or a subject to be studied. Instead, she seemed genuinely interested in understanding him, his thoughts, reactions, and the strange resilience that humans displayed. It fascinated her that despite the fragility of his species compared to hers, he had survived in situations that would have ended most lives. They spoke softly, exchanging stories of their respective worlds. He described Earth in vivid detail: the roar of the oceans, the rustle of forests, the warmth of sunlight on a cold day. He spoke of human innovation, of civilizations rising from hardship, of art and music that expressed emotions too deep for words. She listened intently, her head tilted slightly, as though absorbing every image and feeling he described. In return, she revealed fragments of her own life. Her people had conquered harsh planets, tamed storms, and built civilizations on barren worlds. Yet she confessed that, despite their technological might, they often lacked the one thing humans had in abundance: the will to keep moving forward despite fear, uncertainty, or loss. Her voice held admiration, tinged with humility. It was rare for an alien of her stature to recognize human strengths in such a personal way as ours passed. The ship's tranquility was broken by a faint vibration, a signal from the main console. The human approached cautiously. The sensors indicated a small vessel approaching from the nearby asteroid field. It wasn't aggressive yet, but its trajectory suggested curiosity, and in space, curiosity could quickly become danger. He signaled for her to stay close, and she nodded, her movements smooth and confident. Together, they assessed the situation. The vessel was piloted by a lone alien scout, part of a faction known for scavenging advanced technology. The human calculated their options carefully, balancing defense with diplomacy. He suggested a non-aggressive approach, broadcasting a universal greeting while readying defensive shields. She assisted seamlessly, manipulating the ship's systems with precision that matched his tactical mind. When the scout arrived, it hesitated, sensing the unspoken readiness of the human and the alien woman. The human sent a clear signal, indicating that any hostile action would be met with calculated defense, not vengeance. The scout, recognizing their competence, transmitted a request for communication. The human opened the channel, and a dialogue began, cautious, tense, but civil. Through careful negotiation, the scout revealed that they sought resources, not conflict. The human offered limited assistance, enough to satisfy the scout without compromising the ship's security. After the encounter, they returned to the cabin. The tension had lifted, but the human noticed a subtle change in her demeanor. She seemed contemplative, her gaze distant. He asked what was on her mind, and she admitted that witnessing his calm and strategic thinking had impressed her more than she expected. Humans, she realized, were unpredictable in the best ways, capable of empathy, courage, and cunning in equal measure. The human smiled, acknowledging the compliment. He had long known that humans were resilient, but seeing her genuine admiration reinforced his pride, not in dominance or power, but in the qualities that made his species endure and thrive. He realized that this connection, forged through mutual respect and shared experience, was unlike anything he had encountered in his missions. Later, they prepared a simple meal together. It was not lavish, but the act of sharing food created another layer of trust. She observed his manners, the care he took even in small actions, and he noted her efficiency and grace. There was a rhythm to their cooperation, silent understanding that both respected each other's space while moving as a team. It was more than survival. It was companionship, formed naturally and without pressure. As the ship sailed through the starfield, they engaged in quiet activities. The human showed her how to use certain human tools, demonstrating improvisation and adaptability, which fascinated her. She reciprocated by demonstrating her own skills, manipulating energy fields, navigating complex systems, and observing patterns that humans would overlook. Each demonstration was a lesson, each shared moment a bridge between their worlds. In the evenings, they would return to the small cabin. The human noticed subtle shifts in her body language, moments of relaxation, small smiles, and glances that suggested comfort and curiosity. He, in turn, allowed himself to show a bit more openness, recounting personal experiences, moments of doubt, and the rare times when human instinct had triumphed over reason. She listened without judgment, her reactions measured and thoughtful, indicating respect rather than mere fascination. Days passed. Each challenge they faced, from minor ship malfunctions to navigating asteroid clusters, was met with cooperation and trust. The humans' resourcefulness complemented her strength and agility, making them a formidable team. And yet, beyond the practical, there was a growing emotional connection. It was subtle, expressed in shared laughter, quiet observations, and the comfort of proximity. One evening, the ship's sensors detected an anomaly, a planet with a thriving ecosystem, yet strangely devoid of intelligent life. They decided to investigate, descending through the atmosphere to a forested region. The human marveled at the vibrant flora, while she noted the patterns and rhythms of the ecosystem. Together, they explored shared discoveries, and even faced minor hazards, relying on each other's skills to navigate safely. During the exploration, they came across signs of an ancient civilization, ruins overgrown with vegetation, remnants of a society that had once flourished but vanished long ago. She studied the structures, analyzing the technology and artistry, while the human considered the lessons such a civilization might teach about resilience, innovation, and survival. They shared theories, debated interpretations, and respected each other's insights, learning not only about the ruins but about each other's perspectives. Returning to the ship, they carried a sense of wonder and accomplishment. The shared experience reinforced the bond between them, a bond that transcended species and culture. They were partners in discovery, allies in survival, and companions in curiosity. The human realized that her admiration was not just for his actions, but for the essence of humanity itself: adaptability, courage, and the capacity for empathy. She realized that her respect for him went beyond tactical skill. It was rooted in understanding and appreciation of his spirit. As night fell, they returned to the cabin, exhausted but content. Silence filled the room, but it was a comfortable silence. It's one that spoke of trust, respect, and the rare intimacy of shared experiences without the need for words. She whispered softly, almost shyly, "You are extraordinary. I never expected to meet someone like you." The human smiled, understanding that the galaxy was vast, dangerous, and often indifferent. But in that small cabin, they had found something rare and valuable: mutual understanding and genuine connection. They lay together, side by side, no rules, no expectations, only the knowledge that they could rely on each other. In a universe of uncertainty, the human's courage and compassion had earned her respect. In return, her intelligence, curiosity, and trust had given him a companion unlike any other. It was not romance in the traditional sense, but a profound bond that would shape their journey through the stars. In the quiet hours before dawn, the human reflected on the events of the past days. The alien woman had taught him patience, curiosity, and the importance of perspective. She had challenged him, inspired him, demonstrated that strength was not just physical, but also intellectual and emotional. He realized that humanity's place in the galaxy was not determined solely by technology or power, but by the qualities that allowed humans to endure, adapt, and connect with others. Even in the most unlikely circumstances, the alien, for her part, contemplated the human's resilience and ethics. She had encountered countless species, some stronger, some faster, but few had the combination of courage, empathy, and ingenuity that humans displayed. She understood that in a galaxy full of conflicts and uncertainty, these traits could shape events in ways that no weapon or fleet could achieve. Her trust in him was not blind; it was earned through observation, experience, and shared trials. The ship continued its journey, stars streaming past, silent witnesses to the growing bond between human and alien. Each obstacle they faced, each moment of collaboration, deepened their understanding and respect. They were no longer merely allies. They were partners united by mutual curiosity, admiration, and the recognition of each other's strengths. As the distant stars shifted with the movement of the ship, both felt a quiet excitement for what lay ahead. The galaxy was full of challenges, wonders, and mysteries yet to be explored. Together, they would face them, relying on trust, intellect, and courage. And though the night had brought uncertainty, it had also revealed something extraordinary: that the human spirit could inspire even the most advanced beings. and that trust and respect could forge bonds in.